Hello friends, this is Smart Week, and in today's episode, we'll talk about the failure of Google and the onslaught of Microsoft, which despite age-old memes is pushing its browser and search engine to the top with ChatGPT. We'll also talk about the world's first AirPods Pro headphones with a Type-C connector, a quadcopter that can fly and swim underwater, shoes that can increase walking speed by 2.5 times, smart cones that are already involved in China, the permission Amazon received to launch 3,000 internet satellites, and SpaceX, which tried to power all super heavy engines simultaneously. All this and much more right now. Let's go. Microsoft has clearly decided that it's time to challenge Google or even replace it completely. Earlier this week, Microsoft announced that it had integrated its artificial intelligence bot, ChatGPT, into both its Bing search engine and Edge browser. It seems that the changes announced by Microsoft have pleased users because the day after the software giant's event, the number of downloads of the Bing app for iOS increased several times. In the US App Store, Bing climbed to number 12 on the list of the most popular free iPhone apps, and Edge ranked third in the utility category. A research company estimates that the number of new downloads of the Bing app has increased tenfold worldwide. This indicates significant interest from consumers and their willingness to start using the new search engine or browser to access these tools. Although Microsoft has technically already launched a new version of Bing, we are currently talking about a preliminary version of the search engine and with limited functionality, and access to the chatbot itself in the search engine is limited at all. To get it, you need to sign up for a waiting list. Microsoft offers to speed up the process of waiting, for which it is necessary to make Bing a default search engine on the computer and also to scan the QR code to install a mobile version of Bing on the smartphone. Obviously, this played an important role in such a significant growth of the application's popularity. Who knows what the not so distant future holds, and whether Microsoft's browser will become more popular than Chrome's. Get ready for more memes. It looks like it will. Scientists from China and Hong Kong have created a drone with 4 propellers for underwater research and search operations. The quadcopter is fully autonomous and excludes human involvement. Its name is TG Flying Fish. The drone can operate in 2 modes, air and underwater. To fly, the propellers turn upward and rotate at maximum speed, and to swim, turn downward and rotate at a slower speed. Due to this, the drone is submerged underwater. The TJ Flying Fish battery charge lasts for 6 minutes in flight mode and 40 minutes in underwater mode while consuming fewer resources. The weight of the drone is 3.3 pounds, which is much less than that of other experimental analogs. Irish mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor introduced a drink called Proper No. 12, however. Why did this news appear in our feed? He did it in the style of the Cupertinians and Steve Jobs. For the presentation of the drink, he dressed as the co-founder of Apple and generally parodied his behavior on stage. The video contains many references to the presentation of the iPhone and other Apple products. It begins, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes a product comes along that changes everything. The same introduction Steve Jobs used to introduce the new iPhone. Even Apple's famous Think Different slogan is cleverly spoofed. Instead, McGregor says, drink different. In addition to the obvious coincidences, you can find similarities in the selected video frames, camera angles, and jokes, sounding from the stage. Steve Jobs himself presented to the world the first iPhone on January 9, 2007, and the device is firmly entrenched in the minds of people as the first smartphone of our time. Google followed Microsoft in holding a conference on artificial intelligence and development. But alas, unlike its competitor, it failed to surprise the public. In particular, Google's chatbot, Bart, answered a relatively simple query incorrectly. And against this backdrop, the company's shares plummeted in price. The main theme of the presentation was artificial intelligence as expected. After Microsoft's announcement, journalists were expecting something relevant, but the senior president of Google only repeated the already known theses and demonstrated the previously shown work of the BART algorithm. Twitter users noticed that in the commercial, where the artificial intelligence asked to talk about the James Webb Space Telescope, it answered incorrectly. The bot said that with the help of this telescope, people got the first pictures of planets outside the solar system, but in fact they were made 17 years before its launch. Against the backdrop of such advertising, the shares of the parent company, Alphabet, went down right during the event. However, Some of the developments presented at the presentation may be of interest to a wider audience. Google Translate with the next update will show more contextual translation variants with examples of word usage. At the same time, the company promised to improve the interface of the iOS version of the application. In addition, Google announced the launch of the global beta test of the multi-search function, and the previously announced immersive view mode for some cities appeared in Maps. The American startup Shift Robotics introduced a new type of shoe called moonwalkers. The essence is an unusual mechanism that allows you to hold the balance while walking without any external effort, while increasing walking speed by 250%. It is reported that the idea for the project was born after an engineer. Inventors almost had an accident while riding a scooter. After that, he decided to find a way to allow people to walk faster without risking their safety. Moonwalkers attach to the sole of any existing shoe and are activated by lifting and lightly rotating one of the heels. Sensors in the shoe collect data about the user's gait and use machine, learning algorithms to control the speed of the 8 motorized wheels at the bottom of each shoe. When active, moonwalkers work like a moving sidewalk, allowing the wearer to walk at an average speed of 7 miles per hour. China has unveiled a future technology that will make the work of traffic police easier. Moving smart cones with intelligent control automatically drive up to the scene of a traffic accident and fence it off from the rest of the traffic. It takes about 30 minutes for the services to do this, but the smart cones do it in seconds. Each cone is synchronized with the others to coordinate with the rest of the robots, like drones. This helps manage and regulate traffic flow. SpaceX tried for the first time to conduct a simultaneous launch of all 33 engines of the Super Heavy rocket. The static firing test was the most extensive and ended successfully without explosions. 31 engines ignited and ran for about 15 seconds. Company executives said these tests would be the last major test before the first orbital flight. At the SpaceX conference, Green Shotwell said that if the tests are successful, the craft could go into space within a month. However, the exact timing depends not only on technical readiness, but also on getting launch clearance from the Federal Aviation Administration. The Starship is strategically placed not only in SpaceX's development plans as a more capacious vessel to deliver Starlink satellites into orbit, but also in the U.S. Space Agency's NASA program. This vehicle was chosen as the descent module for the Apollo mission, on which astronauts will have to arrive from Earth to the Moon. Engineer Ken Pillinell, known as the creator of the first iPhone with a Type-C connector, has taken on a similar modification of the AirPods Pro headphone case. According to tradition, he not only showed the entire process in the format of a video, but also shared instructions for upgrading the headset with everyone. To refine the headphones, the enthusiast made a custom-printed circuit board and created a new case for the charging case with the help of a 3D printer. He posted all the instructions for assembling the custom accessory himself on GitHub. According to Pillinell, the modification is designed only for AirPods Pro first version and is not compatible with the second-generation headphones, released last year. At the same time, it will work both with MagSafe charging cases and with the classic accessory. In the online store of the engineer, modified headphones cost $324, custom stub $38, and sets of 10 headsets, $270. However, there is a chance that the development will soon be irrelevant as Apple plans to release an iPhone with a USB Type-C connector at the end of this year, and then the turn will come to the AirPods. Amazon is one step away from creating its own Starlink competitor. Similar in functionality, satellite constellations were called Project Kuiper. The Commission approved the launch of 3,236 Kuiper satellites into low Earth orbit. Now Jeff Bezos has to put half of these satellites in orbit until July 30, 2026. The approval allows Kuiper to begin deploying its constellation to provide high-speed broadband internet access to customers around the world. This means Starlink will soon have a direct competitor and satellite internet users will have an alternative. Following an approved plan to reduce orbital debris, the FCC will require Amazon to submit a semi-annual report on the number of satellites it has launched and the reliability of its disposal. If Amazon encounters a satellite disposal problem within 1 year, it must also report it to the FCC. The Commission requires Project Kuiper to guarantee the ability to remove its satellites from orbit after their estimated 7-year lifespan. It must make sure that the decommissioned satellites descend into the stratosphere and burn up there to prevent them from colliding with the IS and other habitable stations. Late last year, Amazon announced that the first 2 Kuiper Project satellites would go into orbit aboard the new United Launch Alliance Vulcan Centaur rocket. It is still in the testing phase, but if all goes according to plan, it will make its first flight in the coming months. And the end. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more tech news, and don't forget about the like and subscribe.